Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. I am so excited for today's deep dive because I think it's going to be especially helpful for any of our listeners out there who are new to Islam.
Oh, yeah,
It's tailored just for you as you navigate, your faith, especially with Ramadan right around the corner.
definitely.
We're going to be focusing on finding inner peace during Ramadan.
Mm-hmm.
And to guide us, we're going to be drawing wisdom from this incredible book. It's called Ramadan, a spiritual guide for new Muslims.
Yeah, it's such a great resource, especially for, those who are just starting out on their journey with Islam.
Exactly. And I think you'll find it incredibly insightful as we kind of go through it today. Now, one thing I really love about how the guide starts is it just grounds us in that very heart of what inner peace means in Islam.
It does, yeah. Like right from the beginning, it sets the tone with this beautiful verse from the Quran, Surah Arad, verse 28.
Oh, I love this one.
Verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest.
It's so powerful. Like those words, I find myself like constantly coming back to them.
Me too. It's like this reminder that, true peace, it doesn't come from all the stuff we chase after in the world and, possessions or achievements, all that.
Right.
It comes from nurturing our connection with Allah, SWT. Like that's where real peace is found.
I think that's so reassuring, especially for, someone who's new to the faith might be feeling a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's new. Ramadan's approaching. It can feel like a lot. But this verse, it's like this beacon,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, this is where you start. This is the path to peace.
And speaking of Ramadan, the guide beautifully explains how this holy month itself can be like this incredible catalyst for inner peace.
Oh, for sure. It's like a time for this intense spiritual reflection and growth, like a chance to hit the reset button on everything.
I love that. It always feels like a time for like deep internal shifts.
Yeah.
The guide talks about how, the practices like fasting and just increasing your devotion, like transforms us from within.
Totally. It's like a spiritual cleanse,
Yeah.
shedding old habits and patterns and emerging, like renewed. And a big part of that, the guide emphasizes, is strengthening our bond with Allah,
hmm
SWT, during that time.
Right.
And that's where it delves into the concept of ibadah.
Ibadah. Okay. So for those of us who, might not be familiar with this term, like, could you break that down a bit?
Yeah, of course. So, ibadah often gets translated as worship, which, might make you think of just ritualistic actions, right?
Mm.
But it's so much deeper than that.
Okay.
Ibadah is about, like, every aspect of our lives when we do it with the intention of pleasing Allah.
Wow.
It's like embodying that connection in everything we do, every thought, every word, every action.
So it's really about living your life, with that consciousness, with that awareness of Allah.
Exactly. And Ramadan, it's like this incredible opportunity to really deepen our ibadah.
Oh, okay.
Through practices like Salah, Dhikr, Quran recitation. It's like all of that is amplified during this month.
There's this simple but like really profound tip in the guide that I love.
Oh, yeah.
It's about starting and ending each day with tikkar.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Just taking those few moments to recite, phrases like Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, and Allahu Akbar.
Right.
It's incredible what a profound effect that can have on just your state of mind.
Yeah. It's like creating this little pocket of peace that you carry with you throughout the day.
I love that. And this next point I think is something that like we all struggle with,
Oh,
honestly.
yeah, for sure.
Letting go of worries and anxieties. And the guide really hones in on that.
It does, especially as it relates to finding that inner peace, right?
Right.
And it introduces this powerful concept of tawakkul.
Tawakkul. Okay, so what exactly is tawakkul?
So tawakkul is this like complete reliance on Allah's plan.
Hmm.
It's about trusting, like completely trusting that Allah knows what's best for us, even when things feel really uncertain, even when we're going through tough times.
That's a powerful idea, that surrender, and trusting that he knows better.
It is, but I think it's also like one of the hardest things to actually put into practice.
Right.
Especially when you're, facing real life challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. The guide shares this beautiful hadith to illustrate this idea.
Oh, I love the hadith.
It says that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said, if you put your trust completely in Allah, he will provide for you as he provides for the birds. They go out with empty stomachs in the morning and return full in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
That imagery is just so striking, like to have that level of faith, to not worry about where your next meal is coming from.
Right.
It really speaks to the essence of tawakkul.
It does. It's about trusting that that Allah will take care of you, you know? And I think that's a really powerful reminder for our listener too. Like, where in your life can you practice more tamakkuls during Ramadan? You
Mm.
know, what worries can you consciously, kind of surrender to Allah?
That's such a good question.
It's about identifying those things that are weighing us down
Hmm.
and making that conscious choice to let go.
Yeah. So the guide then goes on to explore the power of prayer and reflection, right, for finding inner peace.
Oh, absolutely. Prayer, especially Salah, the 5 daily prayers, they're more than just a ritual.
Mm.
They're like this direct line of communication with Allah.
It's a conversation. Yeah.
It is. It's a moment to pause, to just disconnect from all the noise of the world and just connect with something much larger than ourselves.
Yeah. The guide actually mentions how many people who've converted to Islam find this really deep sense of peace in Salah.
Oh, I've heard that too. Yeah, it's like this grounding and centering, even if everything else in life feels chaotic.
It's like that reminder that, even in the midst of that chaos, we can always find solace in prayer.
Exactly.
And speaking of prayer, the guide also touches upon the significance of tahajjud.
Ah, yes, the night prayer.
Yes.
There's something really special about praying in the stillness of the night, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. It allows for this different level of introspection and connection.
It does. It's like the world is quiet and you can truly feel the presence of Allah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
It's a powerful experience. As we're talking about connecting with Allah during Ramadan, it makes me think of another really crucial element the guide highlights for finding inner peace.
oh, what's that?
Forgiveness.
Hmm.
It's something we often overlook, but it's so deeply intertwined with our inner peace.
Hmm.
And the guide, it gently addresses that internal struggle so many of us face,
Right.
especially those who are new to Islam,
Hmm.
holding on to past hurts. Maybe negativity or resistance they face from their previous communities.
Right.
That must be a really heavy burden to carry.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense that letting go of that would be such a vital part of finding peace.
Exactly. And Ramadan, as a month of mercy and forgiveness, it offers this beautiful opportunity for personal healing.
It does.
The guy emphasizes that, releasing those burdens, it allows us to move forward with a lighter heart.
It reminds me of a hadith I read recently
Oh, yeah.
about how controlling anger is a sign of true strength.
Mm-hmm.
And it really highlights that link between forgiveness and inner peace.
That's a great connection. Holding on to that anger, the resentment, it only hurts us in the end.
Right?
It's like, we're taking poison and expecting the other person to suffer.
So true. So, for you listening, maybe consider this Ramadan like a chance to practice forgiveness.
Yeah.
Is there someone you need to forgive? Maybe even yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a powerful step towards inner peace.
It is. And speaking of powerful steps, the guide also beautifully highlights, the act of helping others, which
Nice.
is, of course, a central tenet of Islam
Right?
as a pathway to inner pain.
Right. It's like that reminder that our own peace is often found in bringing peace to others.
Mm-hmm.
Acts of kindness, no matter how small, they have this ripple effect,
They do.
wouldn't you say?
They absolutely do. And the guide explains this concept of baraka.
Baraka.
Yeah, blessings that
Okay.
flow from these acts of kindness.
So it's like a spiritual reward for putting good out in the world.
It is, yeah.
There's that beautiful hadith that says, the believer's shade on the day of resurrection will be his charity.
Mm-hmm.
It paints such a vivid picture
It does.
of the impact of our good deeds.
It really does. And it's a reminder that, even those simple acts, sharing food with a neighbor, offering a kind word to a stranger,
Right.
it all makes a difference.
So for you listening, what small acts of kindness can you incorporate into your Ramadan routine?
Yeah.
It could be anything, from volunteering your time to simply smiling at someone who looks like they need it.
Mm-hmm.
Those small acts can really brighten someone's day
They can.
and in turn, nourish your own soul.
Exactly. Now, shifting gears a bit, the guide also touches upon something that I think is particularly relevant for, someone new to the faith.
Oh, okay.
Navigating social gatherings during Ramadan.
That's a great point. It can be a bit tricky.
It can.
How do you balance, those social aspects with the spiritual focus of the month?
Right. Well, the guide suggests, being open and honest about your fasting with friends and family, explaining the significance of Ramadan and what it means to you as a Muslim.
So it's about educating and sharing rather than trying to hide it or downplay your faith.
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to decline invitations or or adjust your social calendar to, prioritize your spiritual practices during this time.
Right, because Ramadan is a special time for heightened devotion, and creating space for that is so important.
It
I
is.
remember when I first started observing Ramadan, it was like a learning curve,
Yeah.
figuring out how to navigate those situations while still, like, honoring my commitment to the month.
It's a journey for all of us. And on that note, the guide emphasizes the importance of like self-care during Ramadan.
Oh, that's so important.
Something we often forget amidst all the focus on, spiritual practices.
Yeah, because fasting can be physically demanding.
It can.
So listening to your body and getting enough rest is essential.
Absolutely. And don't forget about nourishing your soul, too.
Right.
Through prayer, reflection, acts of kindness.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance between physical and spiritual well-being.
It's a holistic approach to Ramadan, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. Now, the guide also delves into another aspect that might feel a bit daunting for someone new to the faith,
Okay.
seeking knowledge.
Right.
There's so much to learn and discover about Islam,
There is.
and it can feel a bit overwhelming at first.
I can imagine. Where do you even begin?
Well, the guide emphasizes the importance of, starting with a sincere desire
Mm-hmm.
to understand and connect with Allah's teachings. And it reminds us that learning is a lifelong process.
It is.
There's no need to try and grasp everything at once.
Right.
It's about taking it, one step at a time,
Yeah.
one concept at a time.
One day at a time.
Yeah,
And thankfully, there are so many incredible resources available these days.
there are.
Books, lectures, online courses,
Right.
and of course, podcasts like ours.
Exactly.
We try to make learning about Islam accessible and engaging
Mm-hmm.
for everyone, no matter where they are on their journey.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another important point the guide raises, the importance of finding a supportive community.
Yes. This feels particularly crucial for new Muslims who might be, feeling isolated
Yeah.
or disconnected from their previous community.
It's a common experience, and the guide emphasizes that, surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, who share your values and beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
it can be incredibly empowering.
It's like that strength in shared experiences, being able to learn from one another.
Absolutely. Reaching out to local mosques or Islamic centers
Right.
or, even online communities.
Right.
It can open doors to incredible connections and resources. Remember, you are not alone on this journey.
It's about building those bonds of brotherhood and sisterhood that
Exactly.
are so central to Islam.
Beautifully said. And lastly, the guide encourages new Muslims to, approach this journey with patience
Mm-hmm.
and a positive attitude.
Yeah. It's so important to remember that faith is a process.
It is.
There will be ups and downs,
There will be.
moments of doubt, challenges, even setbacks along the way.
That's all part of it.
Yeah. And that's part of what makes the journey so enriching.
It is. It's through those challenges that we really learn and grow.
Absolutely. And remember, Allah, SWT, is always with you,
Always.
guiding and supporting you every step of the way.
It's that unwavering faith and trust that will ultimately lead you to that inner peace you seek.
Well, that brings us to the end of part 2 of our deep dive.
Oh, really?
I know, right? It feels like we've covered so much ground today.
We have.
We explored everything from the essence of inner peace to practical tips for navigating Ramadan as a new Muslim.
We talked about, building a strong connection with Allah through ibadah,
Uh-huh.
practicing tawakkul,
Yes.
seeking forgiveness, engaging in acts of kindness, finding strength in the Muslim community.
It's been a really, really insightful conversation,
It has.
but our exploration isn't over yet.
No, not at all.
In part 3, we're going to dive into something I'm particularly excited about,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
the personal stories.
Yes.
Shared in Ramadan, a spiritual guide for new Muslims.
I love this part.
We'll get to hear firsthand from other new Muslims about their experiences, challenges,
Mm.
and the profound impact Ramadan has had on their lives.
It's so inspiring.
Their stories offer this glimpse into the beauty and diversity of the Muslim community
They do.
and the transformative power of faith. So stay tuned for part 3, where we continue our deep dive into finding inner peace during Ramadan. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of finding inner peace during Ramadan, especially as you embark on this new journey as a new Muslim. As promised, we're going to delve into some of those inspiring personal stories from Ramadan, a spiritual guide for new Muslims.
I always find that hearing about other people's experiences can be so powerful.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, looking through different windows into the same room.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, seeing how the light falls differently, how the same space can be experienced in so many unique ways.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And one story that really resonated with me was about this young woman who found solace and strength in prayer
Mm-hmm.
during a really challenging period in her life.
Yes, her story is incredibly moving. She describes how Salah became like her anchor,
Hmm.
a way to connect with Allah, SWT, and find peace amidst all the chaos and uncertainty she was facing.
Yeah, it speaks to that transformative power of prayer,
It does.
even for those who might be new to it.
Absolutely.
It's a powerful reminder that Salah isn't just about like the physical motions, but about establishing that profound connection with the divine.
Yes.
It's about finding that still point within ourselves amidst like the storms of life.
Absolutely. And there's another story that I found particularly impactful.
Okay.
The story of a man who found healing and forgiveness through fasting during Ramadan.
Oh, yes, I remember that one. He had been carrying the weight of past hurts
Mm-hmm.
and resentment for years.
It was like he was trapped in his own pain,
Yeah,
weighing him down, preventing him from experiencing true inner peace.
it was.
But through the act of fasting, he was able to confront those emotions
Hmm.
and ultimately let go of them.
It's incredible how he describes experiencing this profound sense of liberation, almost like a physical weight had been lifted from his shoulders.
It highlights the incredible spiritual cleansing that Ramadan offers.
Yeah,
It's not just about abstaining from food and drink,
right.
but about purifying our hearts and minds from negativity and resentment.
It's a chance to like reset and start anew.
Exacto.
The guide also shares stories about new Muslims who found a sense of belonging and community
Yes.
through Ramadan, which I think is so important, especially for those who might have felt isolated, after leaving their previous communities.
That sense of isolation is a common struggle.
It is.
But these stories show how, shared experiences like fasting and praying and breaking the fast together can create these powerful bonds.
Mm.
They describe discovering a new family within the Muslim community,
Yeah,
finding support and understanding they might not have expected.
it really underscores that welcoming and inclusive nature of Islam.
It does.
There's a sense of unity and shared purpose that transcends like cultural differences and backgrounds.
It's beautiful to see how those connections are forged, especially during Ramadan. Now, as we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought from the guide that I think beautifully encapsulates everything we've talked about today.
Okay, I'm all ears.
It encourages new Muslims to embrace their journey with a sense of wonder and curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
to approach Islam as an ongoing exploration of faith, spirituality, and personal growth.
It's a reminder that there's always something new to discover, something to learn, something to deepen our understanding.
Exactly. It encourages us to remember that every step on this path, every challenge, every triumph is an opportunity to strengthen our connection with Allah and uncover the beauty of Islam.
Yeah.
It's about cherishing the journey with all its twists and turns.
And to remember that we don't have to walk this path alone.
Don't.
We have the support and guidance of this incredible Muslim community.
We do.
So for you listening as you embark on this new chapter, know that you are not alone. Embrace the blessings of Ramadan, cultivate inner peace, and cherish the journey of faith.
And remember, your presence in the Muslim community is a gift.
It is.
You bring a fresh perspective and a unique light to our shared faith.
Mm-hmm.
Your journey inspires us all.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into finding inner peace during Ramadan. We hope this episode has provided you with some valuable insights and a sense of hope as you navigate this incredible journey.
And remember, this is just the beginning. We encourage you to continue exploring, learning, and connecting with others on this path.
If you found this episode helpful, please consider subscribing to The Deep Dive for more insightful discussions on all aspects of Islam. And don't forget to share this episode with anyone who might benefit from it. Let's build a supportive community together where everyone feels welcome and empowered on their journey of faith.
May Allah bless you with a Ramadan filled with peace, growth, and profound connection. Until next time, may your hearts be filled with the remembrance of Allah.